Okay, welcome to the channel. Today we're just going to be going over the 10 tips that I've learned over my very short triathlon journey. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off with the first point on this list, consistency. For me, it's been quite hard kind of balancing my uni work, about to start a new job. Trying to balance all that whilst trying to stay consistent with your training can be very, very difficult. So trying to find that balance of social life, work, study, whatever it may be, and training can be very hard, but the main thing is showing up even when it's tough, even if it's just putting in kind of small training sessions instead of doing maybe long hours, maybe trying to see if you can condense it into kind of better volume instead of just doing these massive sessions that take up kind of unrealistic amount of time, which just isn't sustainable. So having consistency throughout your training and making it progressive towards your race day is definitely something that I think is very key. Okay, second point on this list, I would say easy days need to be easy. As simple as that is, and as kind of easy as it feels like sometimes when you're on these supposed recovery days, you really do just have to give your body enough time to recover, because that's when you do make kind of the best progress, is when maybe you've hit some hard sessions, you give your body time to recover, and then it doesn't affect the next few sessions. So I've definitely had it where maybe I've done a long ride on Sunday and not given myself enough time on Monday to kind of give my body time to recover. It's then affected my training sessions, which I tend to do on Tuesday. And so yeah, just when you have those easy days, just take it nice and easy, zone 2, heart rate, or none at all, and just spend time kind of with your family and everything. So yeah, I would definitely say keep easy days, give yourself enough time to recover, as easy as that may sound. Okay, third on this list is swimming. Now swimming for me, I don't come from any swim background, and I've only really managed to drop about 20 seconds off my 100 meter time, so it's definitely an area that I'm kind of trying to work on. I'm currently stuck at around kind of 2 minutes per kilometer for the kind of longer kind of swims, so like your half Ironman distance. I'm hoping to get kind of just under the sub 2 mark, but the main thing that I've found especially is when I'm kind of going to the swimming pool, it's so much technique based rather than can I just kind of go up and down as many times as possible. And in a swimming pool, it just doesn't always translate to open water because you have that wall on the side that gives you that time to breathe, and sometimes in the pool especially, that you're kind of getting closer to the end of the pool and maybe you swim a bit faster just because you know you've got that wall that you can hold on to breathe. So yeah, just focusing so much on technique, doing drills, following all the Instagram accounts that there are. There's loads of Instagram accounts out there that will have so much technique advice, and I've managed to drop my time, but I still have loads that I want to improve. So I'm going to try and get some coaching and hopefully knock some more time off and just start to enjoy swimming a bit more. Okay, next on this list is bike pacing. Now, I come from more of a running kind of background, playing football and futsal and what have you, so the bike hasn't always been my strongest part. Now, the one thing that I have found is trying to stay either to a certain like power meter, or just trying to pace it the whole way, trying to keep quite a fairly high cadence and trying to pace the bike, because I've definitely had it during races where I have shot out like a rocket at the start, at least that's what I think it. Shot out like a rocket at the start, kind of burnt my legs, quad's been absolutely killing, and by the time you get off the bike, your run is heavily impacted, and especially as someone like myself where I think running is probably one of my stronger suits. So yeah, just trying to pace the bike, and especially towards the end of the bike, think so much about saving your legs for the run you can get off the bike. So just trying to pace yourself the whole way through, keep your power consistent, keeping it at whatever threshold pace or heart rate that you've kind of been aiming for the bike. Okay, next on this list is fueling, and I never really knew anything about kind of triathlons when I first got into doing sprint triathlons and standard distance and stuff, and I didn't realize the importance of fuel until you realize when you try and use it in training sessions and try and implement it into actual race day. But fueling is they call it, I believe, the fourth discipline, because it is so impactful on your race. It can make or break, and trying to get fuel in early, especially like on a bike ride or the end of a swim, get it in early before the legs start to feel it. So get it in early. And the other thing I found is trying to fuel often rather than in big kind of portions. So if you have a water bottle or something, then trying to fuel consistently, then rather than just trying to down the whole thing and then upsetting kind of your stomach. So little and often is probably the best way for fueling for these races. Okay, next on my list is gym. Now, I definitely feel it's something I've overlooked, especially over a lot of my training, but the importance of strength training and leg day, upper body day, whatever it may be, is so important for triathlons, and it's something that I've definitely think I've overlooked and kind of wish that I started to do earlier during my process of going through all the triathlons. So trying to implement at least one strength session. You don't need to do more than maybe 1 or 2 per week unless you're really trying to build some muscle, but strength training is so important for kind of reducing the amount of injuries you may get, helping your body to produce more watts on the bike, and just overall it is so important. So I really wouldn't miss out on leg day, even if that means removing one of your training sessions for the week and adding a gym session in. As tough as that might be, trying to remove maybe one of your run or bike or something and implement a leg day will definitely help. So yeah. Okay, next on my list is structure. Now this kind of links back into consistency, but having structure within your training sessions and making use of tools like Copilot, ChatGPT, they can be very helpful for creating just a base to your training. So you know for your week, it splits it up, so you have this on this day, this on this day, and it may vary because you'll have certain commitments some weeks and family and everything else, but having a structure keeps you accountable for your training, and it just helps plan your week instead of it just being like, oh, today I might do running. It's splitting it so you have some proper running sessions during the week, some proper bike sessions, some swimming technique on these days, leg day on this day, so it doesn't cross with, let's say, your maybe threshold work the next day, and just stuff like that. Having structure, and also having structure also means that you can see progression as well. So just keeping track of maybe the times that you're running at, the watts you're putting out, your swim time, and then trying to see if you can progressively overload, so maybe adding a bit more training, trying to see if you can really increase your pace has, for me, helped the most. Okay, next on this list is ego. Now, it can be so easy, especially for myself as a runner, when I go and do maybe a track session or something, and as part of my plan, it might be a threshold session, and maybe this is running at a certain pace. Let's put it at 4 minutes per kilometer. Now, when you get to the track, it can be so easy to then run at a heart rate that's too high for the training session, a speed that's too quick, and sometimes, especially for these sessions, you have to take an ego hit where it's just like, if you run at these paces and at these heart rates that's not beneficial for your training session, it's not going to help you. And I've definitely found that kind of trying to check your ego and run at the times and heart rate, especially a lot of these sessions where it's maybe threshold work or stuff like that, focusing mainly on heart rate rather than speed can sometimes help you, because it might be that some days you're not quite feeling it, you're not quite running at the kind of the paces that you want to run at, and yeah, just checking your ego for these sessions can really help benefit from these sessions a lot more than overdoing it, overrunning, and running at paces that just puts your body at unnecessarily stress and increases the chance of injuries. Okay, next on my list is race day practice. Now, this can be quite hard, especially if you're fairly new to triathlon. What should I take? What does turning up to a race look like? How early should I get there? And these are kind of things that you learn on the way, and there's no particular like one size fits all, but I would definitely say race day practice can be so important. Stuff like nutrition before a race, never trying something new on race day, whether that's a new bike that you've never used, new shoes you've never used, kind of making sure that everything you use on race is something that you've done kind of 100 times, and this is stuff that you don't want to get into a race and let's say the shoes don't fit on the bike or whatever have you, or nutrition where it makes your stomach upset and it just completely offsets your whole race, and it kind of feels like a bit of a waste of time, a waste of money. And so it's so important that you practice these kind of race day nutritions, what transition might look like, maybe doing a bit of research into kind of what do people take, what kind of like shoes do people wear, etc, etc. And so just making sure you're prepared for race day is kind of one of the key points, I'd say. And last on this list, I would say, is not to compare. And what I mean by that is everyone in triathlon is kind of on their own journey, and for me especially, I've just kind of got into the sport, and it's so easy to compare to people who have been training for 5-10 years and they're pushing 30 plus more watts on the bike, and I'm thinking, you know, it's comparison is the thief of joy, because trying to compare to people who are at a different stage of their triathlon than you, and it might be that it's their first ever triathlon and they've got way better times than you, but that person may have played sports or done whatever. It's so easy to compare, and sometimes you have to just kind of head down, focus on what you can do as a person. And one of the things that I heard from one of the podcasts is curiosity. I'm curious to how good a triathlete I can be. It's not about anyone else. It's not about can I beat this person. It's what times can I get based off me, and how much can I improve? How much time can I take off my swim, my bike, my transition, my run, etc, etc. So just trying to enjoy the process of training, not compare to anyone else, and yeah, just enjoy triathlons. So I hope these tips were kind of useful for you. If there's any videos you want to see in the future, I'm going to try and film my 70.3 if I can, and any other races that I do after that. My goal is to do eventually a full IRONMAN, possibly in 2027, we'll have to see. I'm just trying to build a kind of training plan that can eventually do that long term. And so yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.